Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to another video. As you can see, it's really cold over here. We're at about like 5 centigrades, or is that the Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the Fahrenheit conversion is. Sorry for all of you guys using the imperial system. But it's really cold. It's really freaking cold. So, yeah, I mean, let's jump right into our video. I have a couple of announcements though before we jump. First of all, I'm a little bit tired today, so that's why I don't want to rush things. I actually want to give you a very nice video, but it's been a long week, and there's been some sleepless nights thanks to our baby that's still growing, and she needs to wake up and be taken care of in the night. So it's been a little bit tough this past couple of days, but don't worry, we still have good energy to continue. And couple of announcements. So just taking a look at our calendar right here, today is Saturday. I'm recording the Sunday video for you guys tomorrow, and this next week we are gonna have we're gonna continue with the lighthouse project. We don't have anything special set up for this week, so I'm just gonna keep on going, and I'm gonna try to keep it again approachable. There were some comments in the comment section where you guys were mentioning that I was going maybe a little bit too fast, or things were getting a little bit too complex. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we can keep it as simple as possible, so that all of you guys that are new to 3D, new to Maya, can follow along if you so wish. And also remember, next weekend, Saturday 20 and 21 of November, we're gonna have our second portfolio review for this month. So I've been getting some pinks in my email for when people watch the past videos and they try to submit, they try to access the folder, but right now it's closed. We closed that folder so that we don't get any unwanted attention over there. And I'm gonna be opening it up tomorrow. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there. So I'm gonna be opening up the submissions tomorrow again on the folder. So if you guys want to resubmit anything that you've been improving upon, if there's new works that you want to submit, if you haven't submitted yet and you want to show me some of your work, feel free to do so. Remember, if you submit the Maya file or the ZBrush C tool, I'm gonna be able to open it and give you some pointers, like actually work on your model, so that you can see how I would like fix or improve certain aspects. Okay, so after all that long intro there, let's jump onto a very simple exercise I was thinking about, and I want to bounce this idea with you guys. Maybe this is something that you guys are into. I was thinking about having another ongoing series, and I want to call this Maya Modeling Basics. So these are going to be basic exercises that I think anyone who's learning Maya should be able to model and learn, so that later on when you do more complex stuff, you're going to be able to just do it yourselves. And today we're gonna kick things off with a very basic set of cutlery. So this is one of those things that a lot of people don't think about. Like, you never think that you're gonna get a job where people are gonna be like, hey, model some spoons and forks. But if you're gonna do a kitchen or any sort of element that has like cutlery, then this is definitely something that you're gonna need. So I'm pressing space, clicking Maya, and going into my front view real quick to jump into my front view, and then I'm going into view, image plane, import image to import my image, and I have downloaded this one right here called cutlery. You can just Google this up. It's just a simple cutlery thing. Now, I'm not too worried about proportions right now. I don't think that's the main like element, and we're gonna go from easiest to, I believe, hardest. So the easiest one would be definitely the knife right here. So cutleries are this sort of like squarish shapes. So I'm gonna start with the square actually, and I'm gonna position my square right here in the middle. So I'm gonna try to get this image plane right in the middle there. There we go. And I'm gonna just extrude this out. And the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna be doing a basic box modeling process. So box modeling is when we try to get everything into like this sort of like box shape, and then we just like smooth it out. So in this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press right click, face mode, and I'm gonna select the top faces right here, which are these ones right there. Let's move this image plane over here. There we go. So front view, if I select this, make a selection box, and then deselect, I know that I'm gonna be selecting these upper faces right here, and I'm gonna hit Control E to extrude. And then I'm just gonna move this thing up, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna keep this series super basic, guys. So if you guys already know about modeling, then you can skip ahead and just take a look at the like main things that you might not have an idea on how to model. So I'm extruding this lower faces now, and I'm just gonna scale them out so that we get like the sort of like the shape that we want. And I'm gonna extrude again, move this down with W, and then extrude this out. Extrude again. You can also move this with the little blue arrow right here, like so. And then Control E again, W, move this out, make them go closer there. I'll make it go there, and then Control E again, W, move this down, and scale, so that we get like the basic shape of the knife. Now you can see that we're kind of missing a little bit of the curvature here. Here's where the knife tool comes into place, because we can just cut this through like this. I'm gonna press shift. Oh, let me go object mode, cut tool, press shift so that we create a straight line, and there we go. Now it's just a matter of grabbing these vertices and making them go a little bit smaller like that. Now over here you can see that things are a little bit trickier. So I'm gonna again grab the top faces, and I'm gonna extrude the first section, and then I'm gonna extrude the second section. Okay, and now I'm gonna go into perspective mode. Again, one way to quickly jump, you can press a space bar and then just press a space bar on the window that you want to jump, but you can also press space bar, click, and then go into perspective mode right there. So this is way too thick, so I'm gonna make it thinner, so something like, I would say probably about there. And then this guys, as you can see, have this sort of like level, right? So I'm gonna grab a right click, go into faces, select the first face, and then right click and shift and double click on the face next to it. That's gonna select the whole edge loop. Do the same thing over here, so we select all of those faces, or you could just do a drag, just like a draggy box over there and select all of them. Control E to extrude, and then we're just gonna push this guys out. Okay, now remember, when we push this out, we something get that distortion. I don't want that, so I'm just gonna push them with thickness here. Now, if the thickness goes too quickly, you can just press Control and click on the name here, and that's gonna give you a smooth like expansion right here. So about there, I think it's fine, which is like the first level. And then I'm gonna grab the next set of faces, and I'm gonna do the same thing again. So just thickness and do this thing right here. And as you can see, we have this very basic shape. Now, if we press number 3, which is a smooth mode, you're gonna see that we actually get close to what we want, but it's not exactly what we want. So I'm gonna grab all of the edge loops, all of the corners. So I'm just gonna double click. I'm just right click, go into edge mode, double click, and select all of the edge loops right here. Like all of this guys, this guys, this guys, and this guy and this guy, all of those guys, so that the loop gets like completed. Even up here, I would grab like this guy. I'm gonna deselect this guys, so I just want the borders right here. There we go. So it's like the upper border and then that one over there. And I'm gonna hit a bevel, and I'm gonna say 2 segments, and I'm gonna keep a small fraction, and that's gonna soften up the effect, as you can see, and we're gonna get this sort of like sharpish like effects that we're going for. So that way, actually that's a little bit too thick. So maybe I'll go with just 1 segment, and 1 segment should keep it a little bit rounder. There we go. That's a little bit closer to what I'm looking for. Now, to really get this very nice sharp element over here, I'm gonna do the same. So I'm just gonna go into edge mode, select this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and yeah, those guys over there, and I'm gonna bevel. And we're gonna keep a very small fraction, so when we smooth this out, we get that smooth effect over there. And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's all we need to do for the handle. And now it's time to do the knife. Now, some of you might be wondering, could we do the knife from the exact same shape? And the answer is yes. We can just extrude this one from here. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit thinner, because the knife is definitely not as thick. And to keep this simple, I'm actually gonna extrude this out all the way to the top, like this. Just all the way to the top. And then I'm gonna go with my cut tool, and I'm gonna start adding cuts all the way through the surface. Just a couple here and there. And now, if I go into vertex mode, I should be able to move the vertices around and position them where they're supposed to be, following the silhouette of the knife. That way, instead of having to extrude and move, I think this is a little bit of a faster way to approach it. I had a teacher that mentioned that when you're modeling or sculpting, it's always better to go for like the very big shapes first, and then focus on the small shapes. For instance, here we have a small shape. That means that we're gonna have or need a couple of extra edge loops just to really hold this edge right here, right? Like create this sort of like curvature effect right there. And that's it. Now the knife, of course, is gonna have a little bit of a sharp edge, right? Like this seems to be like a butter knife, right? But if we want to give this like a sharper edge, we can do so. As you can see here with a number 3, we're already gonna get something very nice. But what I want to do is I want to add an edge loop that goes across this line right here, and then one that goes across this line right here. So that's going to give me like a really flat, nice edge over here. It is going to run all the way through the object, so it is going to go to this other side. But now what I can do is I can go to the actual like sharp area of the object, like all of these vertices right here. And with scale, I can bring the scale a little bit closer to where they're supposed to be. So now that's gonna give me a sharper look. So we see it from the top, you can see that the knife actually has a nice sharp edge to it. Now if we want to hold this little corner a little bit more so that the sharpness like looks more intense, we can of course add a support edge right here, and that's gonna give us another nice support. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, like this looks really nice. You can see the little bit of a actually that looks kind of bad. So how can we solve that? Probably with a bevel. So if we do a bevel right here and we just minimize the fraction a little bit, that should give us a softer look. There's gonna be a little bit of a pinch there, which we might be able to alleviate if we were to add a couple more support edges, but I don't think that's such a big deal. I mean, the problem is that it has like a very drastic change. Another thing we can do is just grab these guys right here and smooth them out a little bit, like kind of create like a gradient where this thing goes from thin to thick, and that should also help with the transition and alleviate the pinch a little bit more. Which, yeah, as you can see, works very nicely, right? So now let's go for the spoon. The spoon is gonna be, we're gonna do a very similar technique. We're gonna be focusing on like the flat surface first, and then we're gonna do the rest of it. But I'm gonna show you a new tool here, very common as a modeling tool, which is the Quadro, this one right here. So I'm gonna create a little plane right here. We're gonna flatten this out 90 degrees. A good idea would be to actually bring this plane to the center of the grid. So I'm gonna grab these two guys and just move the spoon, so now the spoon is on the center, like the image plane. And at this plane, I'm gonna change the divisions to 1. So it's just a square. I'm gonna position this right here on the border. About there, I would say is fine. Now, this tool right here is a really cool tool to model because we can just click and add points, and if we press shift, we're gonna add a new face. So click, shift, and we add a new face. Click, shift, and we add a new face. And what we're gonna be doing, as you can see here, is we're gonna be creating this edge loop that runs around the spoon. And this one's gonna be very important because we wanna create this sort of like a round thing going into the spoon so that later on we can create the curvature of the spoon. So it's gonna be like that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 7, 8, 9, and I'm gonna try to keep it at 10. So right about there, and then we just like move these guys around to create this. Now eventually we're gonna have a line that goes pretty much across the entire spoon and creates the middle section, right? So this is gonna be important right there. So like this, and then we close the loop right there before we go into the handle. We can press shift to relax the topology a little bit. And now it's just a matter of thinking, okay, where's the middle point? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right here. So I'm gonna try to combine these two guys right there. And then it's just a matter of kind of like filling a puzzle, as you can see right here. So we filled that one, and there you go. So now we have this very nice topology. It's a roundish topology that's gonna be softening and smoothing very nicely, and we should be able to create the curvature with this. Now for the handle, super simple. We're just gonna continue whatever we had right here all the way to the bottom. And again, one quick way to do this is don't think about like going little square by little square. If you do that, I mean, it's one way to do it. It's just gonna take you a long time. I find it a little bit easier to just get it done with just one swift stroke like that. And then we just start adding a couple of extra strokes where we need them, or extra lines in this case, to create the silhouette, right? So this is it. I'm just checking that my microphone is working. Remember when a couple of months ago I had to redo the whole video because the microphone wasn't working? Technology, guys, it's a blessing, and that's also so frustrating. There we go. So as you can see, we have now created this very nice silhouette for the whole spoon. The problem is this is completely flat, and the center edge, as you can see, is not perfectly aligned to the center. So one quick way to do that is just gonna click the top one, click and shift double click the lower one. It's gonna select the whole selection loop right there. I'm gonna press R to scale, and I'm gonna scale it so that they're all flat to the same surface like that. And then with W, I'm gonna press X and just snap it to the grid. Now it should be fairly easy to just click right click shift and say mirror, and mirror X negative world, so that we create like the mirror of the spoon to the other side. And that's it. Now we need to create, of course, the roundness of the spoon. There's a lot of ways to do it, but since we have this very nice like section right here, what I can do is just select all of these faces and move them back, and then select all of this like inner faces and move them back as well. And when we press smooth, you're gonna see that we get this very nice effect. Now you can see it's not perfect, so we can definitely modify it a little bit. There's a lot of like traditional, again, box modeling techniques where you're gonna have to like really go in there, check which vertex need a little bit more, like more pushing to one side or the other. Like here I'm in subdivision mode, which is number 3, and I'm checking how the curvature is looking. In this case, I think it looks good. Spoons usually kind of like follow the curvature a little bit towards the handle, so you're gonna see a little bit of a crevice here. So I'm gonna grab my vertex here and push it a little bit there. And again, it's just about like molding the whole thing, as you can see here. And that's it. Now, super easy. The next step, and we're actually gonna go right view. This is gonna be super helpful as well to kind of like create like the perfect curvature, right? So I'm gonna go to the center points right there, like this, guys. Definitely need to be pushed out a little bit more. This guy's just a little bit more, and all of those are gonna be helping with the overall curvature. Some spoons are a little bit flatter than others. Some are a little bit like sharper. So here, for instance, I think it might be a good idea to grab this guys and just like push them slightly back. Maybe even like grab this 4 faces and just a little bit more. And again, all of that's gonna help with the general curvature of the spoon. And at the end of the modeling, I'm just gonna press Control E to extrude this thing and just push the spoon out like this. Now we definitely need to kind of like gauge. Is that a proper gauge? It's gauge or gauge? How is it pronounced? Let's learn some English real quick. It's gauge. Gauge. I always say gauge. Gauge. It's to measure, right? Gauge. Gauge. Such a bad English from my part. So it's gauge. Such a weird word. Anyway, so we're gonna gauge whether or not this is thick enough on the handle, which I think we might need a little bit more. So I'm gonna go just a little bit higher. And in the same way in which we sharpen the edges of the knife, we're gonna do the same for the spoon. So I'm just gonna grab the whole edge loop right there, continue it all the way down to the handle, grab this guy and this guy, and I'm just gonna bevel this real quick. And there we go. So now we're gonna have this very nice soft spoon on our table, ready to be used to eat some cereal. My favorite cereal is Lucky Charms, even though I'm not allowed to eat it because it's very sugary. So yeah, I don't buy it very often, but every now and then I'll buy it, and I really like it. Now, as you can see, the fork right here actually follows a very similar topology in regards to the handle as the spoon does. So what I can do is I can actually duplicate the spoon and reuse what I have here with the on the top of the element. So I'm just gonna delete the spoon side of things, and you're gonna see that we have this thing right here, like this section. Oh, we have a weird bevel right there. That's curious, huh? Looks like I missed the spot on the spoon. That's fine. You wanna see how to fix that real quick? So I know that this side is okay, but this one's not okay. So I'm just gonna center the pivot point on the object, and I'm gonna press Shift, click, go into Mirror, Options, and I'm gonna change, instead of World, I'm gonna say Object, so that it uses the pivot point X positive. So whatever's on the negative is gonna pass to the positive, and that way we get a proper spoon. So easy way to fix one side of the object if it's wrong. Now here, it's actually a fairly easy prop. I would say probably the what's the word? The fork is one of the easiest ones. The only complicated thing is this area right here, because we're gonna have a little bit more topology than we're used to. But I'll show you one quick trick here. So I'm gonna start with a cube here, and I'm gonna make one of the, I believe they're called prongs. I think that's the proper word. So as you can see, the prong starts like really thin right there, and then it becomes a little bit wider once it goes down like that. Sorry. Oh my god. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna grab this guy, Control D to duplicate it, and have the other prong right here. There we go. Now we need to define the thickness of the prongs, so they're definitely thinner. So let's go about there. And I'm gonna combine them. I'm gonna combine them into a single prong right here. And the reason I want to combine them is because I'm just gonna grab these two faces, extrude them down like this, and then delete these two faces right here so that I can select them and bridge them together with this little button right here, which is called the bridge tool, and that will combine the prongs together into like the body of the fork. Now, as you can see here, we're gonna have a little bit of an extrusion. So from here, we're gonna extrude to the center, right about there, and then at that point, I mean, we should have roughly the same distance over there. So I'm actually gonna move this thing a little bit backwards like this. Let's go to the front, and I am gonna grab the object here. Let's center the pivot point. I'm gonna move it so that it's closer to the center because I want this same distance or as close as possible to be over here. And this seems to be a little bit too big, so probably about there. So I'm just gonna move this there. And now we snap these vertices right there to the center. And we're gonna use which tool? You guys know it, the bridge tool. No, not the bridge, the mirror tool. We're gonna use the mirror tool because the mirror tool will allow us to mirror this on the world mode on X negative, because we're gonna go from the positive side to the negative side. And we hit apply, and there we go. We have our 4 prongs very nicely there. Now, I don't wanna bring all of these edges into the handle right here. We could, I mean, there's no problem if we did, but I really don't want to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this guy and this guy, front and back, and I'm gonna say collapse, or sorry, in the modeling tab, mesh, and we're gonna collapse. And what that will do is it will create some triangles. And people have this sort of like aversion to triangles. They feel like they're bad or they don't work. They do work. You just need to know where to have them. And for instance, that it's a perfect place to have them. And then this one's though, this one I am gonna merge to center, and same for this one, merge to center. And the reason why these triangles work is because they're in a flat area. So all of these 4 faces that we have right here are flat. They're gonna be completely flat, and we shouldn't have an issue. So I'm just gonna grab those faces, Control E, bring them all the way down, scale them in, because that's the kind of like the, let's center the pivot point, and let's center the pivot point on this guy as well, because it's kind of like out of there we go. So they're gonna go right about there, right? Because eventually these guys, we're gonna have to find a way to connect them to this other guys over here. Now up here I am gonna add a 1, 2, let's say 3, maybe 4, and all of these new lines that we just added, we're gonna use the scale option to scale it out and create the curvature of the cutlery. There we go. There we go. So now it's just a matter of aligning this guy closer to where this is supposed to be. Now the forks do tend to have, as you can see right here, a sort of like curvature. So I'm actually gonna keep it there. And what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna grab this guys right here. It seems to be a little bit thicker, just a little bit thicker. There we go. So I'm gonna grab this guys right here and I'm gonna push them forward, and then this guys right here and push them forward a little bit, and then this guys right here and push them forward a little bit more. And as you can see, we're gonna create this sort of like effect. I'm actually gonna grab all of the prongs here and push them, including this guy probably, just push them a little bit backwards. There we go. So we create this sort of like, again, a little bit of a ramp. I might be tempted to just grab like this one even and just like push it a little bit more. So we're creating this very nice ramp right here. There we go, for our whole element. Now the big problem is, if we take a look at how many faces we have right here, we have 10 faces, so 4, 4, and 2 sides. And on this one right here, if we check how many faces we have, actually there's a little option that you can use, which is over here in mesh, sorry, display, heads up display, and then poly count. You're gonna get the amount of selected edges. And we have 9 right here, and we have 9 because, as you remember, we fixed this one. So I'm gonna go again on this one and do an object mirror on the X positive, so that we fix the topology. And now we have actually 10 objects, or 10 sides. So it should be just a matter of grabbing like, or combining both objects. So if we combine both objects, and I'm gonna try to move this guys like a little bit out and forward, just so that they match a little bit more closely the main like line that we have on the handle, the bevel, because I don't want to add a bevel on the prongs. I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm gonna do something like this. There we go. And now we should be able to do double click, and just bridge them together. and that should create a union on our objects right there. Now it looks very ugly. That's fine, because after we do that, I'm just gonna grab this guy and hit Control Delete to delete it, and now as you can see, the transition is gonna be a little bit better. So there seems to be a crazy vertex right there. There we go, a couple of crazy vertices. So we might need to delete them. Huh, weird. Okay, so these faces seem to have like a problem. Let's just delete those faces. Let's go into vertex mode, or just edge mode, and just grab this edge, and again bridge, and there we go. Look at how clean that fork looks. Now to keep this prongs a little bit nicer, I'm gonna go up here, and I'm gonna grab my cut tool, and I'm gonna cut the one line across there and one line across there, and that's gonna give me this very nice like long prongs without that much of a problem. And we can still go here and add one line there and one line there, and that's also gonna give me some like harder prongs that are not gonna be affected or shouldn't be affecting the rest of my fork. And that's it, guys. I think I'm tempted to give this prongs a little bit more curvature, so I might just like push them forward like this. And then if we really want to give them curvature, I mean, we can add like a couple of cuts right here. Let's go into vertex mode and just add a little bit of curvature to the prongs. So it looks a little bit, I think that looks a little bit closer to a fork, which is what we're going for. And that's it. But this wouldn't be a Nexttut tutorial without a little bit of a quick render. I know we're going a little bit long now. I was expecting to finish this in like 20 minutes, but we're getting to like 30. Hopefully you guys like this video right here. So I'm gonna grab all of the objects, face transformation, delay, history, center, pivot, and let's just like rotate them down like 90 degrees. I'm gonna move this guys right here, like one next to the other, and let's do like this sort of like Instagrammy image, right? So I'm gonna do a top view render, and it's gonna be like a square render. So let's go here to the square. Let's say 2K square is fine, and let's do like this. Let's rotate them like 45-degree angle. So well, first I am gonna like position them in such a way that they're like we have a balanced composition like this. I think that looks balanced. Yeah, I think that kind of looks balanced. Does it? Okay, let's do like exact numbers. So this is 7 units away. Let's do 6 units away, and this is gonna be, so from here let's do delay history, and that's gonna be 6 units. There we go. So I'm gonna grab all of them, Control G to group them, and I'm gonna rotate them. Now let's keep them straight, like a super straight effect. What we can do though, maybe like why not just like rotate them 180 degrees, and then move them, like move them a couple of elements like this, and then duplicate and move them like this. That kind of looks like a titleable texture, right? I think it looks interesting. Now let's add a background, because we definitely need a background. So let's add just like a plane that's gonna serve as our background. Let's add our traditional like sky dome light. Let's do a quick file here on the sky dome light, an HDR, and we have this. Yeah, that decor shop is perfect. Let's go back to our top view. So top view, I'm gonna grab all of my elements right here, all of my cutlery. I'm gonna select, assign a new material, Arnold AI standard surface, and I'm gonna up the IOR to like a 10, and I'm gonna bring the color all the way down. And if we hit render, we should have reflections. By turning the IOR up, we make it a lot more metallic. So let's see if this works. So yeah, were you guys expecting a 30-minute video about how to make cutlery? Maybe not, but if you're just starting 3D and this is the first time you're using Maya, or one of the first times, again, this is an excellent exercise to practice and get something looking very, very nice. Look at this, beautiful. Let's decrease the roughness, because I want this objects to be like super, super nice. We could even bring like the metalness up, and let's bring the IOR, the color up, and that also works. You can see that we get this very nice like chrome effect. You can do metalness or IOR, both of them work perfectly fine. Like they're gonna give you a good result regardless. And now let's add a fun color to the background. So let's add like let's do our green, like the Nexttut green. So I'm gonna go AI standard surface, and I'm not gonna go like this super intense green, but let's go for like a pastel tone. And let's hit render. Let's hit render. That looks nice. I'm trying to see where the reflection is going wrong, because there's definitely some issues on the shading. So I'm gonna grab all of this, guys, and let's say mesh display soften edge, just to make sure that they're all softened. Let's delete history, freeze transformation, center pivot, and let's see if that fixes anything. Could it be that the reflection is so perfect that we're getting this sort of effect? I don't know, maybe. But the green looks very bad, so let's change it to like a blue. I know we normally don't do like blues, but interesting, right? I mean, it could work. Huh, that's very weird. Okay, let me go back to IOR, and let's go like a very high IOR. Well, not that one, sorry. This guy's, let's try. Oh, it seems, did I notice? I'm not, this guy's right here. Or any, you just grab any of them. And if you go AI standard surface, let's go, instead of metal nuts, let's go IOR again. Yeah, that seems to be working out a little bit better. I'm not sure about the reflection. It looks very weird. It could be the normals. So let me show you one more thing that could be doing the effect here. So I'm gonna go mesh display. I'm gonna say unlock normals. Sometimes for some reason normals get locked. I can also go mesh and smooth them, like create like a permanent smooth on the objects. And let's see if this works better. No, could it be the HDR then? You know what? I think it could be the camera. Since we're in a perfect like orthographic view, I think it could be that thing. So let's go like on a perspective view, so that we have a little bit of a different reflection here. And let's do perspective shape. There you go. See how that looks way nicer. Now we can definitely change the color of the spoons. Like we can do darker spoons. No, wait, I'm changing a value that's not supposed to be the value. Let's go back here. There we go. So if we darken the spoons, the metal's gonna be like a little bit more like I would expect, like for a cutlery. And yeah, I mean, this is it, guys. I don't want to go like over this that much. Like I think this is a good ending point for this. One quick thing: if you have an NVIDIA GPU, which I've mentioned before, you can change this in Arnold Render System GPU, and that's gonna give you a very fast render because it's gonna render on the GPU instead of the CPU. So you might get better results depending on what kind of computer you have. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, follow, let everyone know that we are doing videos every day here at Nexttut. And if you're a beginner in Maya or in 3D, don't forget to check the courses down here. Sometimes there are discount and promo codes, so make sure to check it out, because every now and then we add like some surprise or hidden codes so that you get a discount on the full course. We have a full course on Maya, like from the beginning, interface, basic tools, everything, so that you can also become a great 3D artist. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's continue with that lighthouse. Bye-bye.